So you want to be a dungeon master?
So, you wanna dungeon master.
So you want to be a DM?
Them some feats, okay?
So you want to be a DM?
That's great. We can help. I'm Alex.
And I'm Justin. This week, we are sitting, believe it or not, we are sitting down with professional game master, singer, performer, friend of the channel, ethereal fey-like being who promises not to steal your name, and cast member in our upcoming actual play, Kids on Jetskis. It's Alex Teatime, aka Mizuki, aka Iradessa Bonetti, aka our guest for this episode of the pod. And not only are we going to learn about Alex, but we're also going to be talking about character arcs. How can players and GMs work together to create a fulfilling and a rewarding arc for these characters? Well, let's find out. Alex, thank you so much for joining us today.
Incredible. Wow, what an introduction. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
I'm so honored. I'm so excited to be here.
I can't wait to get into all of the things that I have read about and to talk more. So let's jump into the episode. But first, there always must be a but first.
Yes, indeed.
Alex, pick a musical, movie, play, whatever, and make it into a TTRPG campaign or adventure. Go now. Do it.
Okay.
Now.
Okay. Well, you say musical and then immediately followed by movie, so my brain went to Matilda, which I think would make a really good Kids on Bikes campaign because they have the rules for like the one magical character and everyone can control that character. So everyone could play Matilda and then everyone else would play like one of the kids in the school orphanage thing.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's an incredible idea. I didn't even think about Matilda, one of my favorite superheroes.
Boom. What about you? Do you have one?
Oh, now I'm thinking about Matilda. Hold on, let me take it back. Yes, part of me wanted to, almost as a joke answer, just cheat totally and be like Lion King, because like technically it's a musical.
I know, no, me too. I was like Shrek, Shrek the musical, my favorite musical.
Truly, one of the ones I'm thinking of is just Into the Woods.
Yeah,
because it's just so rife with like IP that you can draw from. Absolutely. Right? It's like truly. We've done an actual play set in the public domains, and this would be one step from that, really. It's like Snow White, Cinderella, version. We get it.
I think of, what was Dimension 20's called? Never After. Like, Never After, but a musical type of thing.
Now, does there exist, do you know, a TTRPG that is sort of musical in nature? I know that there's some of like there's like solo TTRPGs of like making playlists. And that is like part of it. I've seen where that's like part of a mechanic, but
I've seen those, but I haven't seen like a full musical like campaign. Though friend of the show, Meadow, did run like a musical campaign based in the universe of the Star Kid world of like
really?
Musicals, Nerdy Prudes Must Die. I know that they ran a musical campaign in that, and I believe they had music and things like queued up to play, but I'm not exactly sure how they ran it, but it sounds really fun.
Yes, I do know that Meadow is a fan of Star Kid. I have seen a bunch of productions of Star Kid, like via YouTube, but like, I think the one that it was actually the first one I watched, and it was the one that I was like, wait a freaking minute. This is so good. It was Nerdy Prudes Must Die.
Nerdy Prudes
and
Must
I
Die
was blown away.
That was your first?
That was my very first. I had like heard of Star Kid, like loosely, like back with like Harry Potter musical kind of shit. Darren Criss, like OG Star Kid. And then just I've stopped knowing that they existed entirely until later in adult life. Mid-30s, finding or rediscovering Smosh and Angela Giortana, and her being the gateway into Star Kid again.
Absolutely.
And being like, oh, she's in it. That's cool. I'll watch that. And then being like, wait a minute, this is fucking crushes. This is so good.
I almost pitched Nerdy Prudes Must Die as one of the campaign ideas because it would be
so good.
So good.
That's actually a
So
really
good.
good idea.
Yeah, write that down. Write that one down. There you
I'm gonna write that down.
go.
I'm a big fan of finding inspiration in the strangest of places and making them my
Same.
own. It's just
Absolute
so
same.
fun for me. Um, okay. I
Okay.
want to get into the meat of the episode because I have lots of questions, and
Mhm.
also I want to be able to like sit in questions and not have to feel like rushed or anything. So,
Yes, absolutely.
as much fun as it would be to go through several musicals and talk about how each of them could be made into different types of TTRPGs, because we could do that. Because I
Full
do
table.
also
Yeah.
think about Phantom of the Opera a lot as being a
Hmm.
really interesting idea. I
My
recently heard,
problem with so
Mhm,
many musicals is like it is centered around one or two
I
characters, so
know,
it's difficult
yeah,
to make it like a group experience. So my
absolutely.
brain went to Les Mis really fast because I was like, "What's a group musical?"
Les Mis would be a great one. Rent could be a lot
Rent.
of fun. I don't want to get too into Jonathan Larson because we I have a question later on, but
Yeah.
I also was thinking just about the concept of like oops all bards, of
Mhm.
maybe you could even take something like D&D, which is like not inherently musical. There's nothing
Yeah.
in the rules to say you have to sing even if you're a bard, because bards don't have to be specifically music as the performance. It could, now they have a subclass that's like dance, which is
Yeah.
fun and fantastic and a great subclass, but it has
Isn't there
no
like a
music or
chef
singing.
class as well? Or
uh
maybe that's a homebrew I've seen.
Definitely a homebrew because they have the chef like feat that you can
Okay.
take, but not
Yeah.
a full class and or subclass that is like official. But
Yeah.
we make our own homebrew too. Speaking of homebrew, gang, check out our Patreon link in the bio.
Check it
It's in
out.
the description as well. All kinds of cool, fancy, fun homebrew, free magic items once a week, homebrew subclasses. We just made a subclass for Bard called the College of the Crypt, where it was like, what if you had a bard who tells horror stories and scary stories and ghost stories around the campfire kind of vibe, but they do that
Oh,
so much that they can actually, they're powered by it. And so they can spend a bardic inspiration die to transform into one of the monsters from their stories. So very like stealing the druid's wild shape kind of vibe and being like, but what if instead of turning into a bear, you can turn into a porcelain doll that has a 40-foot speed and can play dead? Because that's terrifying.
that's so scary.
It's so scary. So it was just like, let's make the scariest bard ever. That I think
That's
that's really
really
fun.
cool. Yeah,
And
I love
that's
that.
available for just $2 a month at the Patreon. Depending on, I think if you come from Apple, it's a little bit more expensive, but it should be about $2 a month to get all these cool things, including bonus action, our extra podcast episodes. So check it out. Link in the description. Patreon helps support us continue to create content. Click the links. Okay, let's get
Yes.
into the meat of the episode.
Let's
Alex,
do
thank you
it.
again for joining. So
Of course. Thank
fun.
you for having me.
Absolutely thrilled. So, first to get into knowing you a little bit more,
Yes.
I understand that you would be considered a theater kid, somebody who loves the theater, loves musicals. How did you get into theater and musicals? Is it something that your family was into and that kind of got you into it, or is it just something that early childhood just clicked? Where are we at?
Yeah, just early childhood watching every musical Barbie movie I could get my hands
Mm.
on, watching The Nutcracker, Swan Lake. I cannot tell you how many times I have forced everyone around me to watch Barbie Princess and the Pauper. I have every second
Oh
of that movie
boy.
memorized.
Oh boy.
I have forced my partner to watch it twice this year. I love that movie so much. So it just started from a very young age. And in fact, my mom begged me for many years to do theater. And I was like, I'm not a theater kid, mom. I don't do that until high school. And then I did that.
And she saw right through you.
Yeah.
That's so funny. So does your mom like theater too?
She
And
loves to
musicals and stuff?
watch theater, but
Hmm.
she's never done it herself. She's just an admirer and patron of the arts.
Lovely. I love that.
Yeah.
First of all, I watched a YouTube video from a YouTube creator named Ted Nivison, and he watched every single Barbie movie.
Yes.
It's an hour and a half long YouTube video where he
I've
watches
seen
every
it.
single Barbie
So
movie, and
funny.
I watched him watch every Barbie movie. So I'm very familiar with the Princess and the Pop or the and Popper
Yeah.
because I remember the sort of plot and how crazy it was.
It's so
Like
wild and it's fantastic. That
there are
would
some
be a
wild
great
Barbie
campaign.
movies. There are some insane Barbie movies out there.
Yes,
My
there are.
goodness. The one that they wrote right after Mean Girl,
Oh my god,
the
yeah.
Means Girl,
Yes,
whatever.
it's literally
That
just the Mean Girls, but
it's
in Barbies.
insane. It is crazy.
Yeah.
Also, so how do you feel about like, okay, I like musicals, but I've never seen them in person. I've
Mhm.
never like gone to a Broadway or
Yeah.
anything like that. How important do you think that is for the medium of like experiencing it live?
Oof. Well, musicals can be experienced in so many different ways, but I think the purest form is to see it on stage. It doesn't
Mhm.
necessarily have to be Broadway, but you should go to a theater and see some people putting the show on its feet. Because just
Mhm.
listening to it, you'll get a very different experience. And then with a movie, it often gets really watered down or skewed. A lot of songs get cut. So you miss a lot of the show. And you can, in some cases, miss the entire point of a musical if it's extremely
Mhm.
poorly directed, which happens all the time.
All the time. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, directors adding their
yeah,
own takes,
I
their
think
own
really
flavor.
just putting it on the stage and getting to experience the live electricity that comes from live
Mhm.
performance is super important
Absolutely.
for the medium.
Absolutely. I've never seen a musical live, but I've seen lots and lots of plays.
Mhm.
Like I love Shakespeare, so like I've seen Hamlet
Oh,
like 6 times, different productions, totally different feelings, even like
yeah.
time lines or like
Yeah, like time
what's the like
period.
the setting? Yeah, yeah. Uh like a modern day take on King Lear or something like that,
Yeah.
where they're wearing like more modern military attire or something interesting. I saw an all woman production of Titus Andronicus, which was
Mm.
I've told Taylor about it. I was like insane, so
So cool.
good. But what is your favorite musical if you had to pick? Or I'll allow a top three kind of situation if you want to.
Okay, thank you, thank you. This is like for stage productions, I guess. Okay,
Follow your heart.
all right. So as I mentioned before, I will not take any slander. Shrek the Musical is a top three. It's a beautiful, gorgeous show. They did not have to go as
Okay,
hard as they did, but they
interesting.
did. Like they got incredible performers, Brian Darcy James, Sutton Foster, and so many more to bring these characters to life. They gave the characters so much depth. The songs, mwah. Janine Tesori, incredible composer. I love that show. The
Wow.
sets, the costumes, it's peak. And you can watch it. There is a pro shot somewhere. You can probably find it on YouTube. So I
Amazing.
recommend it. And then I would say Hadestown, which I've had the pleasure of
Mm,
seeing twice on Broadway. I don't like when I first just listened to it, I thought it was fine. I think it's a good show to listen to in general, but that's one that like you have to experience it live. It is gorgeous. It's full body chills like the whole way through.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's
and
amazing.
then I don't know. I'll just stick with those 2 for now, but I've seen many and I
That's
love some of
fair.
that. Avenue Q. I'll throw Avenue Q in there in my mentions.
Okay, puppets.
It's so funny. It's Sesame Street for adults, you know? We need a little help too.
Amen.
Yeah.
I love those choices. They feel diverse in their in
Yes.
their like emotional
Yeah.
like range.
Mhm.
It feels quite diverse. I again have never seen a musical production in person, but I have a list because I am because I've never seen one in person. I am treating it like virginity, where I'm
Yeah.
taking it very
This is gonna be my
seriously.
first. Yeah.
I'm gonna remember it forever. So
Right.
I might as well put a little bit of time into it. So I am
Makes
kind of like,
sense.
people will be like, oh, they're doing a new production of this. And I'm like, get out of town with that. I don't want to see a brand new thing. I like Alanis Morissette as much as anybody else. I'm not seeing that as my first one. I'm so sorry.
Right.
I must see either something Sondheim, because I just have put him on a pedestal a little bit and I recognize that. And then also like I would see Phantom of the Opera, Lion King,
Hmm.
Wicked. There's a lot of like quote unquote classics that I would
Yes.
see.
And I think they're
Rent is
great
very
choices.
high
First
on
ones.
my
Yeah.
list. Um God, to see Rent in person would absolutely blow me away.
I would love to see Rent. They're having a 50-year anniversary production of it here in Spain, actually, and I would love to go see
Ay,
it.
Dios mío.
Yeah,
That
I
is
know.
incredible. I love Rent. I have seen plenty of like musical movies. I remember
Mhm.
during COVID, during like the big part of the beginning of the quarantine, of watching the pro shot of like Hamilton,
Mhm.
which I really
Gorgeous.
appreciated. Just
Yeah.
like I liked, as opposed to just having like one static camera. Like
Yeah.
the fact that the camera gets in close and like all of those things, it was meant to be shot with a camera in terms of that
Yeah.
particular production. I appreciated that. I was like, oh, if they did this for all musicals, that would be insane. Like,
It would be
again, not to take
incredible.
away from seeing things in person, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
talk
But
about
like
just,
seeing things in person is like the best way to experience the
mm-hmm,
show. But you got to be able to afford it. You have to be able to go to a place that's putting the production on. Like
yeah,
it's difficult to do that.
absolutely.
So giving people the second option of being able to just watch it from home, like Hamilton did, and like Shrek does, because they also have multi cameras and it's gorgeous and light. It's you should watch it, Justin.
I will. It's on the list. I've written it down. Shrek the
Hell
musical. I
yes. It's
will
so
make it a
good. It's a
point.
gorgeous pro chat, and I highly recommend it.
Amazing. So I was doing a little bit of research.
Mhm.
I'm clicking links, I'm reading bios on different websites. I'm figuring things out. I saw that on one of your bios, you just had it listed tick tick boom. And so I simply must bring it up because when I saw this movie, I already kind of liked Andrew Garfield,
Oh,
Lin-Manuel Miranda. I like, even though he like colloquially gets hate
it's a lot of
in
hate.
what I feel like. Yeah, because he has like a really specific way of doing lyrics and like it's
Yeah.
easy to kind of poke fun at him. But I
Yeah.
think it's very in jest, is how I've interpreted it,
Yeah.
without being part of the musical scene. It
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
feels like it's very like, it's not like we actually dislike this man. It's just kind of easy to make fun of him a
Yeah,
little bit. But
exactly.
I thought this movie was incredible. I
So
was
good.
obsessed with it.
Same. Same, same, same.
Like, oh,
I remember there was one weekend I watched it like 3 times in the span of like 48 hours or something crazy.
wow.
'Cause cause I watched it the first time and I didn't fully finish it. I don't know what was going on, but I didn't fully finish it, and I was like, "That's fine." And then I was on my way home one day from New York, going back down to Maryland, and it was like a 3-hour something drive, and I was like, "Oh, you know what? Let me finish Tick, Tick, Boom." And I pulled it
Mm-hmm.
back up, finished it, had my whole world changed. And then
Oh
I
my
went
God.
home and was like, "Mom, we're watching this movie." And we
Yeah.
watched it, and she was like, "This is incredible." And then the next day, I was like, "My brother, we're watching this movie." And
Hell
we watched
yes.
it again. It's so good. Yeah.
I when I finished Tick Tick Boom, I immediately found it was on YouTube. It was like the worst quality ever, like like 720, the worst graininess, but it was like
Mhm.
a Jonathan Larson documentary about Rent and about Jonathan Larson and putting on Rent and writing Rent and casting
Yeah.
it, and then his death, and then going into the movie production of it and everything, and it was just like so intense, and I was like, what? I've seen the Rent movie,
Yeah.
but of course have never seen the musical, and I was just like, obvious. And it also like was so interesting because when Rent came out and was getting its popularity in the zeitgeist, if you will,
Mhm.
I was still in the closet very much. So
Uh,
like I didn't fully have the same appreciation for it that I do now. Like looking when you look back at the story of Rent and the time period
yeah.
that that takes place in, and Jonathan Larson's life and his friends and Tick Tick Boom and the way that they did it. And it was just like, well, this adds a whole nother layer of like gravity onto the situation that I wasn't anticipating. And that adds so
Yeah.
much more context and like feeling to everything that I was like, I'm obsessed now. And Tick Tick
Yeah.
Boom has changed my life. And now I'm like walking around the house singing the Bohemian song because
Yes.
it's easy to remember. And like,
Yep. I
God. And
sing
Vanessa
Dirty
Hudgens.
90. Oh, yeah,
Holy
yeah.
shit.
I
Where's she
was so
been? I
surprised
was,
by Andrew
yeah.
Garfield. I mean, he
Oh,
didn't know that he
yes.
could sing going into the show, and so,
Yeah.
like, getting to what I thought he did such a good job, and, like, seeing his name on Tick Tick Boom as, like, a theater kid who went to college. I went to a conservatory for musical theater, very, like, "Please get over yourself." Like, wow, musical theater kids are something. I hate to
Hmm.
identify as one a lot of times because I'm not one of those, I promise. But I am flamboyant as hell, so I'll take that. But, like, wow, I was not expecting him to be able to just it completely capture the role. Like, the very
Hmm.
first second is he goes, "Hi, I'm John." You're like, "Okay, you're John and I'm in. Take me on this road." And he just absolutely
Yeah.
kills it. And I think that Lynn did a fantastic job directing it. There were so many times where the visuals were just like such a great mover of the story. The one that immediately comes to mind is the swimming scene where you can
Mm.
like see the pool and then you see the music notes acting as a staff on the like lines at the bottom of the pool. Just beautiful. Great direction.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was really good. I'm a really big fan of it. I also, there's something I really appreciate about trying to think of the words here. Like seeing Jonathan Larson early in his career having to like get really creative because
Mhm.
of just like you're broke. So it's like
Yeah.
I can't afford this massive theater. I can't afford the craziest of like scene displays or anything like that. So it's like you have to get really creative about how you're going to showcase things.
Yeah.
And I've always had to do that where it's like, well, I can't afford DaVinci Plus Pro or Adobe
Whatever.
Masterclass
Yeah,
this or
yeah.
whatever. So it's like I'm cutting corners. Like Canva, I just got Canva Pro. Before that, I had like tabs on tabs of these like weird little websites on how to do background removal and green
Mm.
screen and chroma key that technically are free and commercially
Mhm.
available, but they're like weird websites. I
Yeah.
probably am filled with viruses.
Viruses, yeah.
But I've become like a
Absolutely.
master at cutting corners and finding these like jerry-rigged ways to like get things done because it's like this is how I have to do it. And so
Yeah.
like it makes me think of Jonathan Larson in some of those productions where it's like just a stage and it's like a one-man show. Like because he put
Mhm.
on a show called Tick Tick Boom,
Yes,
right?
he wrote Tick
Um,
Tick Boom as a show, and, like, the cuts that we see of, like, him and, like, 2 people in, like, a three-person band or whatever, those are
yeah.
directly, like, mimicking his actual show that he had put on.
Yeah, it's so simplistically staged.
Mhm.
I've seen a couple of productions that were like that were just like nothing on stage, where it's
Yeah.
just like a chair, and they're like, this chair is everything. It's going to be a
Everything.
driver's seat in a car. It's going to be a
Yeah.
baby's carriage seat. It's going to be the seat at the dinner table. Like it's going to be everything, and
Yeah.
I love that.
Me too.
But
Um,
kind of
yeah.
going in a slightly different direction
Mhm.
than like minimalist. I saw that you like Avatar, and I have
Yes.
to ask, do
Mhm.
you mean blue people or benders? Okay. Thank
Benders.
goodness. Thank goodness. This question is
Benders.
loaded because if it wasn't benders
Imagine
and
if I'm
Appa
like
and Momo?
Papyrus. I prefer the movie that used papyrus and held the
Oh
highest
God.
grossing film of all time for a very long time.
I feel so strongly in my hatred of those movies. Now listen, are the graphics cool? Yes.
Sure.
Moving on. Because once
Yeah.
we're done with that part of the conversation, then we can
Um,
really start talking seriously.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, the graphics were beautiful. We can all agree, visually stunning.
Mhm.
Everything else sucks. I hate Avatar. I
It's
hate
a
it so
lot of
fucking much,
appropriation.
man.
It's very uncomfortable.
It's
It's a
white
lot of
savior. It's
yes.
the reverse of
Indigenous
Get Out. It's
appropriation.
truly
Yeah,
like, oh, I can't
it's
remember who it
terrifying.
was. Somebody did a brilliant kind of like film analysis on how Get Out and Avatar are just like coins of each other, but like
That's
the reverse,
interesting.
not two sides of the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
coin, but like rather Get Out is this like horror story of white people trying to commodify black bodies. And in this one, they're kind of like, no, you want to get in that foreign body because that's how you can save. And it was just like, what is
What?
happening? Not to
Yeah,
mention just the story itself. Even if you don't look at it too deeply, I'm
too
using
deep.
bunny ears for the audio listeners.
Yeah.
Even just the story alone, I think is dumb and boring. But like, then when you actually look at it through like a cultural context or a historical context and you see all of the imagery and kind of connotations to these like larger and deeper issues, then it's
Yeah,
like,
it's actively harmful.
woof. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
If
wild.
only it was just a bad movie, but now it's
Yeah.
also harmful. And now there's
Yes.
just like more and more movies, and you're like, they keep fucking it up,
They
man. It
just
was like
keep
if the
doing
first
it.
one wasn't bad, hey, wait till you see Fire and Ash, because goodness fucking gracious.
The Water
Just
Tribe.
the clothing, the everything. The only water
Yeah.
tribe I want to talk about is the Northern Water Tribe. Okay.
Let's go. Southern Water
I
Tribe for the win, first of all. Hold up.
No, you're right. I mean, like to a certain degree. I mean,
I mean,
if we're
not in the
going
fact that they lost,
my
not for
favorite
the
water
win.
tribe, the swamp people.
Oh, they're great. Yeah, absolutely.
Doing this at the front of a canoe,
Honestly,
that's sick.
a physical feat. Like
Yeah,
it's
dude.
impressive. I love
I
them.
loved the swamp people living inside of the vines and getting to
Yes.
move them like that. So
What a
cool. That's where
dream.
Toph ends up. Anyway,
Yep.
so how deep are you on Airbender lore slash
Quite deep.
media?
I've watched all
Amazing.
of the episodes of the two series. I don't know if the third one has come out yet. I know it got announced a while
Not yet.
ago, but I don't think it's
Not
come
yet,
out.
but it's coming out soon. And did you
Yes.
watch the live actions?
I unfortunately watched the original like M. Night Shyamalan live action movie
Same. I saw it in
in
theaters.
theaters when it first came
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But other than that, no, because my trust was broken. So I haven't seen it.
Truly. I tried to watch the live action Netflix one and like
Yeah.
bless their hearts
Bless their
because
hearts.
they tried so hard.
I
And there are
yeah.
like compared to the M Night, it's leagues better. It's
Yeah.
so much better. However, there were a couple little tiny things that I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
And it's just like it's hard because the animated was just borderline perfect.
It's like perfect media.
So
It's the best American cartoon by miles and miles, not even like touchable, I don't think. And that's saying something because I think there are a lot of like great cartoons that we produce, but I
yeah,
think that it
I know.
is
You said
the
you made
peak
that
of what we're
statement, and
seeing.
my brain went, "Wow, The Simpsons are pretty solid." Simpsons, I think, are 800 episodes deep or something. Like they've been
Yeah,
going for
they've been going for a
decades.
long time, but the animation's
Yeah.
not impressing anybody anytime
No,
soon,
it's
I
not
don't
about the.
think. And the
I don't think
story
it's
is
ever been about the
good,
animation.
but it's, it's not like a story. It's,
You're right. You're right. It's an episodic
it's an
sitcom. It's an
episodic.
animated
Exactly.
sitcom, essentially.
Yeah.
But okay, so we love Avatar: The Last Airbender. We love
Yes.
Korra. Um, oh, fascinating. Now we must discuss this really quickly because here's let me before we even get into it, actually, here's
Yeah,
my defense of Korra before because it
please.
feels like I might have to.
Please, please.
The networks
Yes.
did Korra dirty.
That is true. That is very true.
And it has to do with when they greenlit Avatar: The Last Airbender, they were like, you get 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And therefore they can write the entire show knowing it's going to end. They know where it's going to land. So then they can build this beautiful tapestry of a story with
Right.
like foreshadowing and this and that and character arcs and growth that all feels linear in a way that we can make sense of.
Yes.
Korra gets greenlit for 1 season. So we get the non-benders, we get Amon, I think his name
Amon.
is, which was a
Mhm.
brilliant villain, like very
Great.
fucking scary.
Yes.
That whole season was awesome as a standalone season, but it doesn't connect to the other seasons. There's like little foreshadowing that they kind of do after the fact, but like
Mhm.
it feels very flimsy and kind of superficial because then
Yeah.
they're like, oh wow, season 1 did really good. Now you can do another season. And so the writers never get this opportunity to create a holistic story. And I
Yes.
think that is what hamstrings Korra big time as a
For sure.
season or as like a series.
Yeah.
I think maybe on top of that, there's like a layer of just as like an audience worldwide, speaking very broadly, there's just like, of course, misogyny and like other bullshit that's gonna get
Sure.
attributed to Korra. Um, but I loved the Korra series. Like I will recognize that if I had to pick between the two, I'm picking Avatar: The Last Airbender. But like
Yeah.
I loved Korra. I loved how things aged up slightly. I liked some of the storylines. I love the Korra.
Oh
What's her
yeah.
name?
Oh gosh, I'm forget. See her face so clearly. I
Asami?
can see her.
No, Asami? Something like that.
Asami. Asami. Yes.
And they get together.
Yes.
Lovely. Even though I mean, I feel like they could have gotten to it a little faster and figured things
Yeah.
out, maybe. But I liked
That
it.
was also the networks, assuredly, because like lesbians being put on TV was not a thing. So
I
they had to
know.
fight really hard to like get them to be able to hold hands in the last episode or
I
whatever.
know, which is like, ugh. But
But they walked so Ruby and Sapphire could run, you know.
hell yes. Hell yes. I do. So, okay. So how are you feeling about Korra? Where do you are at those shows?
I mean, okay. The Avatar, The Last Airbender is impeccable, incredible, some of the best media. Korra is, I think, fine.
Mm-hmm.
I just it is really hard to compare it. I think like it's such a high bar to reach
Mm-hmm.
after. And as you said, the networks didn't give them a fair chance to really like grow and develop the world, but that leads to so many huge issues of like just the arcs not feeling like it's building. You have like a weird spike of tension where it's like literal gods fighting, and
I
then
know.
and then it's like I'm a human guy with a tattoo. And it's like, all right, I'm here. Let's
I
find out.
know.
So like there's just a huge drop in tension in the middle of the series, and every season just felt a bit discombobulated for me. But above that, I just none of the characters had chemistry. Like
Mm,
in the original series, all of the group is a group, and you can like see them progress as people and see them push and pull each other to progress as people. And then in the other one, it's just like constant teenage fighting and ignoring poor Bo, which justice for Bo. Give my boy
Bolin
some time. I love
is the best.
Bolin. And he just gets like wasted and thrown away by season 2 or 3 or something. Like after the whole thing with the like twins or whatever. It's like, all right, we don't even
Oh,
need Bo
jeez.
here. What is going on?
Yeah,
So I just feel like
man.
they didn't use all of the characters and the world to the potential that they could have. But
Absolutely.
it's fine. It's a fine show.
It's a fine show. I I do totally agree because I feel like there are parts of Korra's seasons that like on their own are so interesting, but it truly was like because they were such a like a flash in the pan where it's like we don't get any time. Like Avatar, talk about the growth of Zuko and the Fire Lord and this impending thing. Like it stretches the entire series. Whereas you get this incredible villain, Zahir, and his like anti-Avatar group of benders, and they
Yeah,
were so compelling. They were so
very
interesting. I
cool.
wanted to know everything about them. This evil airbender sucking the oxygen out of the Earth Queen's lungs. That
Yeah,
was fucking awesome.
so dope.
And they only get one season, and then it's just like, okay, we meet them and they're gone. And you're like, sick,
Yeah,
great.
exactly. Yeah,
This will affect Cora for the rest of her
for the
life
rest of her
because
life.
but like yeah, that's all we're gonna get to know. I
Yeah.
would I included in a D&D game a group. There was an evil sorcerer group, and I was trying to figure out uh how, like, who led them, who was the leader of this evil sorcerer group. And so I had watched that season and I was like, what if there is no one leader? It's just four people and they're all Genasi, and each one is like the
A different
airbender, the
element.
waterbender,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everything like that. And I can make their spells, like they'll have shared spells, but then like spells that are very specific. The fire guy casts fireball, the
All right.
water person casts tidal wave, whatever. And it
Yeah.
was so fun. I love that shit.
Well,
Man, so
so then what bender would you be?
okay, perfect. Let's get into it. So there's like what I think I would be in terms of like maybe aspirational, and then there's more like what I probably actually am.
Okay.
So like I would like to be a little more like earthbender.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just because low key, like, I really did fall in love with Bolin. I love Toph so much. And I
Mm-hmm.
just love the branching out that it potentially allows. Like, metal
Yeah.
bending was very attractive to me. I really think that's so cool.
Yeah.
Kuvira, another incredible villain that just like, if they had time to percolate on it, could have
Yep.
been even better. Like, Kuvira has elements that are fucking awesome as a villain. And then
Yes.
they just squandered it. Anyway,
Yeah.
uh, but I genuinely think I'm probably closer to like a waterbender.
Okay.
But what
Gotcha.
about
Fair.
you?
I think I am a waterbender.
Mm,
I've always seen myself as like the healing kind of magic, and I always thought bloodbending was really cool. I mean, scary, and I
so
probably
cool.
wouldn't do it, but it's really cool.
It's so
The
cool.
concept of it is dope. And yeah, I would like to see like how far we could twist waterbending because we have seen so many variations of earthbending. I think exploring
Hmm.
waterbending more would be cool. And the idea of like taking water out of the air and things like that would be dope.
Yeah. Yeah. I do think so much of those scenes of Katara learning bloodbending and
Yeah.
like getting the water out of the plants around, and like they just instantly shrivel up, or like
Yes.
the
Like that
power
stuff
with the
was always so
moon. And
cool to me. And I think I also always really identified with Katara because I too am the younger sister who is the older sister. So
whoa.
I think I just always identified with her really hard.
Yeah. That's so real. Yeah, I never thought about that. She is kind of the younger, older sister in that
Yeah,
way. Because
yeah.
Sokka is such a goofball.
He's such a
I mean, he
goof.
tries to be the older
He
brother at
tries, but
times, but
she's
yeah.
always like the group mom, and everyone like relies on her and literally calls her the group mom and like pokes fun at her for being
Hmm.
tense and trying to be the leader. But it's like, well, none of you
She's
are doing it, so
responsible.
I kind of have to, or we're gonna die. We're a bunch of 12-year-olds wandering through the woods.
Yeah.
So I identify with her
Wow.
heavy.
Yeah, that's so true. I do feel like I can sometimes take on that role a little bit. I'm like the person who, even in like family vacations, when like I'm not the youngest one there, but I'm also certainly not the oldest. There's plenty
Yeah,
of like my aunts, uncles, grandparents, parents, whatever. And
yeah,
I'm the one who's like planning the vacation kind of like, okay, if we get the fast pass for this ride, then that means we gotta
right.
do this. And then we gotta go to this, and then the reservations at this place,
Yep.
and then we can rest. And it's like, goodness gracious. But okay, enough about Avatar. Let's
Yes.
move on a little bit more. So I think one of the ways that I kind of found you on the internet, and like my first kind of impression was these posts about Epic the Musical, where you would be performing or singing or sometimes lip singing to
Mhm.
these songs from Epic the Musical.
Mhm.
So the first question, what about this particular production interests you so much?
Yeah, the thing that really drew me in was I got in very early. So the thing that really brought me in was watching the process of someone make the thing that they said they were going to
Mm,
make. That was the thing that drew me in. Because as an artist, having the guts to actually make the thing that I say, oh, yeah, I'm going to make this or I want to make this is so hard. And so just watching a guy do the thing was fascinating and like so inspiring to me. I remember
mm-hmm.
when the first like one or two sagas dropped, I was so excited and like sharing it with people, not because it's the best thing in the world, but because like listen to this guy who made this thing and it's just like a bunch of like misfits from the internet that came together to make a thing together. How cool is that?
Yeah,
And that was the thing that really drew me in to Epic more than anything.
that's awesome. That's really cool. Cause yeah, I was seeing it pop up everywhere and people responding to it and was kind of like, what is this? Like,
Yeah.
how has this missed me a little bit? And then started checking it out and was just like, well, some of these songs just slap. They're
Slap. Yeah.
just so good. Not to mention the very like, I'm a big fan of sometimes the hook of a song or just like the whether it's like the bridge of a song, the part that
Mhm.
is like very interesting that leads into the big drop or something.
Yeah.
So like the whole like get in the water, like
Yeah.
that whole fucking part is so
So good.
powerful. It's just fun and kind of like makes the hair on your neck stand up a little bit
Yeah.
because you're like, ooh, that's kind of badass and scary,
Yeah.
but also kind of like sexy. Like, what's happening to me
Yeah,
right now?
what's
Actually,
happening
I'm
to
a
me?
little
Yeah, yeah.
confused. Yeah. It's just like that voice just going, get in the water. Like I was just like, holy shit.
Whoa, okay, sure.
God damn.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Um, do you think that there's any other mythological stories that you would love to see a musical? Because this one obviously is Greek mythology, largely
Yeah,
speaking. Obviously, maybe some um, artistic, poetic licensing, switching some
for
vibes up, which
sure.
I'm always all for when it comes
Yeah.
to very ancient mythology that is no longer really currently, you know what I mean? As long as there's like
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
way where you can make twists without like kind of being a dick about
Yeah,
the source
the source
material,
material.
right? Like it's one thing to be like, here's a interesting story about like angels from heaven and devils from the hells, and like there's ways to do that are fine,
In a
and then
respectful
there's
way.
ways to do things where you're like, okay,
Yeah.
you're being a little
You're being
a little
cheeky.
mean, yeah.
Yeah,
uh so is there
absolutely.
any
Hmm. Well, Hades Town
mythologies that
is
come to
such a good
come to mind?
one. But to think of a different one, I was a Greek mythology head as a kid, so getting out of Greek mythology is a little difficult, but I think a
So prevalent.
musical yeah, I think a musical based off of Norse mythology would be very cool
Mm,
because we get a lot of, like I feel like most Norse mythology things are focused on the visual aspect of, like, hunting down and killing things, but I would love to explore
mm.
the emotional, like, internal
Oh, there's
world
so
of
many
Norse
things you could get
mythology.
out of that. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah, I've done a lot of research. So, um, our second actual play that we ever did was called Mythos University, and
Yes.
it was college Animal House vibes, like modern day. People have cell
Mhm.
phones, but what if all the students are Greek myths, the teachers are the gods, and Zeus is like the dean of the university?
Oh,
And so,
no.
as you can imagine, because you're thinking Zeus mythology
You're
Zeus,
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which is like so fair because it's
You
like you
would
don't want this
not
person
have
around
him in
kids.
charge of children. Yeah.
He's like like the best quality of him is that he's an adulterer. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like that's
Yes, yes, yes.
almost a redeeming quality at a certain point based on all the other shit he's
E
done. Like, oh,
exactly.
you just cheated? Thank God.
Oh, wow. We're it's a good
But
day.
like, so like I had to take so much liberty with like
Of
the
course.
things of just being like, hey guys, none of these gods are like straight up rape it. Like we just need to get
Right.
away from certain
We need
parts
to
of the
get yeah.
mythologies. So just like everybody take a chill pill.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was funny if Hades was a super senior and Yes, Persephone was like a junior, and it was like these two fucking love. They're what a toxic relationship these two. And I thought that was
He's
funny, but if
older.
of course somebody
Yeah.
brings up like how is Hades a student but Zeus is because
Zeus
they're
is the
bro,
dean.
and I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
guys, chill.
Just chill.
We're
Just
having fun.
chill. Yeah.
Okay? Like it doesn't matter. I had the fates were the advisors
Fun.
because I thought that was funny. Just
Yeah.
imagine your college advisor being like, "You shouldn't take that. You're
Yeah,
gonna
don't do
fail.
that.
Don't take that class."
Do not do that.
And then season 2 of Mythos was Summer Break, where they go on a Norwegian cruise line to Scandinavia, and they
Mhm.
encounter the Norse pantheon.
Very fun.
And with the Norse pantheon, we meet Thor and Loki, who are trying to start their own social media app called Y instead of X because fuck Elon Musk. So there's constantly layers of me being very anti-capitalist in all of
Great.
our actual plays.
Yeah.
And it was around the time that Elon Musk changed the name of Twitter to X, and I was like, what a fucking loser. So I was like, yeah, these two dumbass business bros, Thor
Yeah.
and Loki, they're using the energy from Yggdrasil, which starts with a Y, to create a social media app called Y. And
Okay.
and it's going to destroy the world because it's taking the energy away from the world tree, something
Yeah.
super powerful, and you guys got to stop them. And so it was just like so fun combining those two mythologies. So I've done a lot of research on Norse mythology in doing that, and by research I mean like pages of Wikipedia and kind of
Yeah.
because again I'm fine with changing things and being like, it's not accurate, but I don't care.
Yeah.
So I was like, there are so much potential to do some really deep stories in Norse mythology. When you see some of the relationships between these different figures, just taking like Odin and he has those 3 children. He has Loki, who's adopted from, technically is a frost giant or something, and comes in, and then you have Thor, but then you also have Hel, this daughter that is kind of, well, Hel is actually really confusing because Hel sometimes is like a daughter of Loki, but then other times is considered a sister. There's all that kinds of weird translations of the Poetic Edda or whatever.
Yeah.
So that it depends on your source material, but there is so much there. Norse mythology
Yeah.
would be a great idea.
It'd be
I
very
love
fun.
that answer.
Hell
I
yeah.
have been thinking about Italian folklore because I've been looking it up recently, just like weird different Italian folklore, just to see like what's out there.
Mhm.
And I was like, the one that I keep coming back to, there's a lot of witches.
Yeah.
There's a lot of witches. There's a lot of like fey folklore kind of vibes, but there's also a lot of stories of an elderly woman who is pretty much Santa Claus.
Incredible.
Bafana is her name.
Oh,
Bafana, the legend of Bafana is just like an old witch woman who travels around, and if kids are good, she gives them presents. And
great.
that's the Italian Santa, and it's just this old woman, and I love it so much. And I just think there's so many silly things I would love to like dive into. Mythology
Like,
is beautiful.
there's so many fun little like weird discrepancies in like the little stories we tell each other, right? Because like in the States we have the tooth fairy, this mystical little pixie that comes in, takes your tooth, and gives you money. And here, and also in Italy, so here in Spain, it's a rat. His name is Perez, El Raton Perez, and he literally comes in and he's a rat and he'll take your teeth and he'll give you gifts.
Love
Not
that.
just money, he'll just like leave you a gift and then scurry off with your teeth, which to me is terrifying because what the hell is that rat doing with my teeth? I don't like that.
I
That's
think that's so
uncomfortable.
fun.
With like a fairy, if a kid goes, "Why does a fairy want teeth?" You can make something up of like, "Oh, it makes it into pixie dust," or whatever. But like, what the hell is a rat? Yeah, he's replacing his big teeth with your teeth. Like, what can you make up that's not
He's
scary?
making ventures for himself. That's really fun. I do love the idea of a rat. I'm picturing like a New York City rat, just
Yeah, me
being like,
too.
Oh my god.
New
Oh,
York
I
Italian.
gotta go to work. And just putting on like fake fairy wings and like a tutu and being like, Jesus. All
Jesus
right,
Christ.
Masha, I'll be back.
Absolutely.
The
Just the
Rodney
most
kid
like
lost his
New York
bicuspid.
Italian rat running around like all of the Mediterranean, stealing
Just
people's
going
teeth.
under pillows. Oh god. What's that?
There we go.
That's a
Oh,
good one.
there's so much dandruff here.
Here's a coupon to
There you go.
Maggiano's. There you
Get,
go.
get yourself a nice gelato, kid.
I love that. That's so fun. I do love, I think Spain actually has one of my favorite Christmas traditions in the, oh God, I'm going to kill my Cogatillo or something like that. The log,
Oh,
the piece
yes,
of
I've heard
wood
of the
that
log.
you're
I
supposed to
haven't
hit
experienced
with
it
a
here.
stick.
I think that's very like northern,
It's
but
like,
yes.
yeah, it's like Catalonia, kind of like
Mhm.
really specific region of
Super.
Spain.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
Like
just the
northern.
silly Christmas tradition of like feeding
So fun.
this log that has a face because you buy them at the supermarket already
Yeah,
painted and done up, and you feed it orange peels and different like little trash almost. And
yeah.
then the kids come in and they sing a song and they hit it with a stick and it poops out presents. And I think that's just fun. It's
It's
just so
very
fun.
fun. I love
Okay.
that. Okay.
So I want to talk about this very much. So I had in my research had found this incredible jungle gym podcast that you had
Yes.
done. Do you still do it? First question.
No, it was a fully scripted, like 12 episode podcast that I did a couple years ago, and I was very proud of that.
It's
That's
incredible. I
thank you so
listened
much.
to it. It is truly an audio experience. Um, so your link tree and like how to get in contact with you or like the different social media platforms that you're on, that'll be all be in the description so people can click on that. So they'll eventually find this jungle gym dreams podcast experience. Are so you mentioned already that they're scripted. Were these real dreams that you were having? Okay,
Yes,
good. That was another
these are
question
all
that
real
I had.
dreams.
Okay, incredible. I am fascinated by this because I personally never remember my dreams.
It's a skill.
It's like I go to sleep and wake up
Yeah,
like
that's
nothing.
wild. You like don't
Yeah,
even like experience
barely
time. It's
ever.
just like boom.
I've
That's
had
cool.
dreams. Sometimes I've had dreams and stuff like
Oh,
that, and I've even lucid dreamed before.
very cool.
I used to have a recurring nightmare where I would be in my neighborhood in the streets, just like walking around suburban neighborhood, and
Mhm.
this massive truck would be chasing me. And it was just like
Okay.
a truck lifted, like a pickup truck on lifted, gigantic monster truck tires, kind of tinted
Perfect.
windows, can never see who's in it. It's just
Yeah.
this truck. And they're just like chasing me through the streets. And that's the kind of the whole nightmare is I
Right.
can't get away. But
Yeah.
I start cutting through people's lawns. I'm jumping over
Yeah.
fences. I'm like, I'll get behind a thing and be like, and
Whoop,
no matter
whoop.
what, he's
Yeah.
like right there.
Yeah.
Whoever
Yeah.
this person is, they're always right behind me. One day, Alex, I'm having this
Yes.
nightmare. And in the nightmare, I'm like, and I see the truck and I go, okay, gotta keep running. And I start running again. And it dawns on me. I'm like, I'm never not able to run. Like
Right.
I'm tired, I'm breathing heavy, but I'm never so tired that I have to
That I
stop
can't
running.
run. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not true of real Justin. Real Justin
Right.
would have to take a break and let themselves get killed because like
Right.
I can't keep running. But in this world, I'm running
Mhm.
constantly.
Yeah.
This is a dream. And then boom, I
Yeah.
wake up.
There you
And so
go.
now anytime I get into that dream, I can get myself out of it like
Right.
instantly. The
Yeah.
second I start running, I'm like, wait a minute.
Wait a
This is
second.
I
Hey.
know this. And I wake myself up. Tell me about these dreams in terms of how you're able to remember them. Do you write like right after you wake up, you're like writing things down, or like do you keep a dream journal? Talk
Yeah.
me through the
So
process.
I've been trying to record them in some way or another since like middle school, I think. And so like my old ones are just typed out. Like I'll pull up my notes app first thing in the morning, just start typing anything I could remember. But I'm dyslexic and my eyes were half asleep, so like they're like almost illegible half of the time. And so then I started doing like voice recordings so I can go back, and those are really funny to listen to because again, it's right when you wake up, so it's always like, so I was running, and like and I just sound exhausted, and I'm trying my best to make coherent sentences, so they're
That's
very
awesome.
funny to go through. But yeah, so I've just it's a muscle, really. Like even if you
Mhm.
just say the very few details that you can remember, the more you recount your dreams, the easier it is to remember them. So I've just been kind of doing that my whole life, so it's been pretty easy for me to remember my dreams.
That's awesome.
Um, but yeah, I've always had, I think it was like since middle school, I had this dream of the giant, like those giant play pin jungle gym things that like McDonald's and Burger King used to
Mm.
have. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
those, but like skyscraper high or like multiple stories high and extremely dangerous for no reason. There's always like very deadly like piranhas or like lasers or whatever. There's something in them that's like
Mhm.
so faint. Why is this in here? And I've just had those for like decades now. And I don't know who's producing my dreams, but I don't trust them at all. We have a bad relationship, me and my
It's
producers.
unreliable. Yeah.
Unreliable narrators for sure. So like now I've gotten to the point where if I'm cognizant enough that it is a jungle gym, I just simply won't go in it because I'm like, danger, not doing that.
Yeah.
So like they've had to start like sneaking them into the dreams
Oh,
to the point where I don't realize I've been in a jungle gym until I wake up and then I'm like, wait a second.
that
Like I'll
was a
go,
jungle gym.
yeah, no, literally, like, an elevator door will open, and then it's, like, the little platform, the little, like, crisscross multi-platforms that you'd have to do in a
Oh,
jungle
yes,
gym,
yes,
and
yes.
I'll, like, climb up that and get out of the elevator, and then it's like, "Doo doo," and it will close behind me, and I'll wake up and be like, "Wait a second, that wasn't an elevator."
Where did this ball pit come from?
Where did this ball fit? No, literally. So, like, I've had so many dreams like that. And then something that I talk about extensively in the different episodes in the podcast is I have a couple different recurring characters that
I
like
noticed that.
they know who I am and they know that I'm dreaming. And it's so scary. I don't like that.
Whoa. Like NPCs? Or are
It's
these
like
characters that you're
NPCs.
filling?
No, it's like NPCs, but they're cognizant that like I'm the playable character. Whereas
Whoa.
everyone else is just like, I'm an NPC, let's go on our adventure. And then they'll look at me and be like, come
That's
on, Alex, what are we doing here playing this make
that's
believe? I'm like, I don't like that at
wild.
all. No, siree, thank
That's
you.
wild.
Yeah,
Have you okay, so you have these vivid dreams. Not only are there characters in the dreams that are like NPCs, I also understand that like you'll also be while you're well, I guess this is kind of the question. I know my understanding is that you'll also sometimes be in a different form, let's say, or a different
yeah,
shape, a different body.
yeah.
Are you in those instances always Alex? Or
No,
is it does it change slightly where you're like,
yeah.
you know?
Like in the stream, I'm Brian, and that's just who I am. I'm a, I don't know, 18-year-old blonde guy, and I've got my little brother I have to watch after, and he keeps calling me Brian, and I know I'm Brian, and everyone knows I'm Brian.
Whoa.
And then some person will look at me and be like, "Come on,
That's
Alex, we both know you're not Brian. Let's stop with this little charade." And I'm like, "No, thank you." Mm,
whoa.
yeah, yeah,
Whoa.
very
Okay.
scary.
That's
So I
so
have
interesting.
like 4 different kind of recurring characters that are all aware that they're in a dream in a way, which is strange. Yep, the way you're looking at me. Yes. Yep,
No,
yep,
that's
yep.
so fascinating. No, no. Part of me, I'm thinking a million things. My brain is going
No, yeah, yeah. It's a
literally
great
crazy right now.
story. Yeah,
It's an
yeah, it's a
incredible
great story.
story.
Yeah.
I, the first thing I'm thinking is like, what if those NPCs are other people also lucid dreaming or something like that. And
Right.
this is
Yeah,
a
yeah,
shared
yeah.
space.
Yes.
That's crazy. My second thing is I feel like we simply, and I already have so many things going on, but what's one more? There's a
Right.
part of me that's like, we need to make this into a thing,
Make this a
like a setting.
campaign. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
has to
yeah.
be a
A
thing.
million percent. This
Absolutely.
dreamscape idea of being different characters or becoming different characters, but then also having these NPCs, some of which are just like byproducts of the setting or the world, and others who are
Yeah.
like somehow able to
I
pierce
actually
the
did
veil.
start running a campaign about this with a friend of mine where like just at random times when we were sitting down and had a lot of time, I would be like, so what story are we telling today? And then we would start a random thing, and then throughout like that story it would be a own individualized story, but throughout it I would drop little hints or things, and then in a completely different story I would bring up some of those hints again. And like
Mm,
slowly over time the point was that you would be able to start to put together that these are all dreams, and that one of the characters who was recurring was like the actual person who was dreaming, and then everyone
whoa.
else that you played was just like random people in the dreams.
Whoa, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay. That's gonna get my brain thinking all day.
Hell yeah.
Oh boy. Okay. So I understand that you grew up in Maryland.
Yes.
Incredible. We were talking a little bit offline of our shared connections to University of Maryland.
Mhm.
Uh, do you, I know that you're living in Spain now.
Yeah.
Old Bay. Do you get Old Bay? Do you have access to Old Bay? Fantastic. Okay, good. I
I
was worried.
have gone to many a store to try and find some. My mom will bring me
Brilliant.
some. I bring it with me because I need it. I
It's
need it.
so good.
It's so
It's
good.
so good.
I have like force fed so much Maryland paraphernalia to my poor Spanish partner.
I love that. Well, I
Like,
mean, I feel like Old Bay could go with so many Spanish things.
yeah, it's great. It,
An
like,
Old
put it
Bay
on some,
paella.
yes, put it on some nice like mariscos y arroz. You put it some Old Bay, delicious. Oh my God, like
Amazing.
it's nice.
Did you um I imagine that you over the time having been with this partner and being obviously in a different country, you've learned Spanish along the way. Did you
Yeah.
know a lot of Spanish before this?
Not really.
Okay,
I
interesting.
had, like, my very basic, like, high school
Mhm.
2 3-year
Hola, ¿cómo
Spanish.
estás? Bien,
Yeah,
bien.
like, understanding of, like, how the grammar works, like, how conjugation works and
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
I had that the understanding of how to do that from high school, but, like, I didn't have any, like, almost no vocabulary was left in my brain from, like,
True.
years of
Yeah.
not practicing. Um and, like, I had picked up on a few more words living in New York and stuff like that, but that's about it. So I did my Duolingo until they said
Mhm.
AI first, and then I was like,
Yeah.
"There goes my 800-day streak." So
Same. I was learning Korean. I stopped.
yeah,
I said no thank
but
you.
there's I found a couple other great apps, like there's one called Busuu with Busuu, and then Language Transfer is a really, really good app to use. It's basically a podcast where there's a polyglot who is teaching an English speaking woman from zero how to learn Spanish. And they have like a whole bunch of languages on there. And
It's
it's
awesome.
incredibly intuitive. Really, really good resource.
Amazing. I imagine also like living around people who are
And living
speaking it
around
is
here,
helpful just
yeah. And I did
by exposure.
like 9 months of Spanish lessons like in a school,
Oh
which
wow,
was
yeah,
really
that'll
good to get the base under my feet again.
yeah,
But
speaking it is so different. Like when
yeah.
you're starting to really like use the like my Spanish has always been pretty decent. Like I used to be probably like when I was at my best in terms of
Mhm.
proficiency, I would probably be like a pretty fluent third grader. You know what I mean? Like
That's
I think I
impressive.
got over my own hurdles of like, you know, because you want to be like, oh, I want to get it right, or I don't want to come across like I don't really know this. But then, like, at the end of the day, if a
Yeah.
person who only speaks Spanish came up to you and was like, where hospital? You would be like, I get it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I get what you're
Exactly.
saying. Like,
Yeah.
the idea of like quote unquote broken English is so
Mhm.
stupid to me in the sense of like, we get what they're saying. We know what they're saying. We know
Yeah.
what they mean most of the
Yeah.
time. Like, obviously, there's going to be like nuances, but like,
Mhm.
so why should I be afraid that this person's not going to understand me? Like, if I say "Donde está hospital," they get it. Like, maybe
Yeah.
there was a
They'll
better way for me to conjugate shit, and maybe there's going to come a time when people are like, "Oh, you're learning from textbooks as opposed from
Right.
like actual people," because
Yeah.
you know, there's always the white kid who gets a better grade than the Spanish speaking person because it's
Yes.
all grammar and like really
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I remember being in high school and having like people who are like 100% they
Yeah.
speak Spanish at home, but they're like Puerto Rican or
Yeah.
Dominican. And so they have like slang where they're like, that's not how we say that. And it's like the
Right.
teacher who's also
Or
white just being like, well, technically, that's
well,
incorrect grammar that your mom
yeah,
uses. It's like, come on, guys.
exactly.
What are we doing?
Come on. Or like it's been a spoken language primarily for them, so they don't know how to like write it correctly or spell it correctly or
Yeah.
whatever,
It's like,
but they're saying it literally perfect because it's their language.
I know. I
Yeah.
know. Luckily, we've just as a, I suppose as long as you're open-minded enough, I think we've been moving in a direction that kind of
Yeah.
allows for more language to feel accepted,
Yes. Mhm.
whether it's like slang or like
Dialects
AAVE or
or
anything like
yeah.
that. Yeah, just like
Mhm.
kind of getting to a
Ebonics.
place of being like, maybe we don't need to all be so
Yeah.
harsh on grammar or spelling. I used to be that person who's like, I mean, don't get me wrong. If I'm like, if it's like a first date and
Yeah.
you're using the wrong form of your, that is an ick to me, and I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I'm
and I
so
get
sorry.
it.
But that's like a little thing. It is what it is.
Yeah.
In fourth grade, I dumped a girl because she got a 20 on a spelling test.
In 4th grade.
Isn't that mean? That feels mean. I look
Spelling
back at it
tests
and I
were
go,
a nightmare for me. Yeah, that's wild, Justin.
she got a 20%. She got a 20%, Alex. I'm so sorry.
Okay,
Her
listen here,
sister called my
Justin.
house phone and was
I
like, you
always
taught my
got
sister.
A's in every class except like and I would get A's in English until we started doing spelling tests and then I would drop down to a C because turns out no one diagnosed me with dyslexia. So I was like, but I know words. And so like I would take so much pride in grammar because like
Mhm.
I know where the words are supposed to go. Don't ask me to spell them for you, but I know where they're supposed to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I feel you, and I'm not proud of it either. I just and
It's
you
a
know
deep,
what?
dark shame of my past.
Yeah. Most of the like my peers, they didn't love it
Mhm.
either. There was like a whole anti-Justin campaign for a little bit
That
in
is
my
so
elementary
wild.
school because I was seen as mean. And it was
Also,
because
why
I
were you
was
dating
so
in 4th grade?
when I say dating, I mean like we
Sure, yeah, yeah,
barely
we
held
held
hands.
hands. Yeah, yeah.
Barely. We did go see a movie together. AKA my mom drove us to a
Oh,
movie and sat a few rows behind us. We saw Save the
really
Last
cute.
Dance.
Aw. That's that's really
We saw
cute.
Save the Last Dance. Yeah. Yeah, I had a lot of girlfriends early on in my life. And by girlfriends again,
Oh.
I mean like just bare whatever you constitutes.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
When you're in 4th grade and you say, "This is my
It was
girlfriend."
verbal consent of
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm boyfriend,
We
you
are
are
dating
girlfriend, and we
now.
are
Yes.
together. Yes. And that was it. So stupid. Because then in fifth grade, a boy named Kyle, I will not say
Mhm.
his last name, not that he's listening, but a boy named Kyle, who I played soccer with, didn't go to my elementary school, went to a neighboring elementary school, but we played soccer
Mhm.
together. I was dating a girl at the time in fifth grade, and he said to me, he said, Justin, if her parents say that she's not allowed to date, then technically you guys aren't dating. So you could date other girls. And fifth grade Justin said, that makes sense. Alex, I was dating like 5 girls at the same time in fifth grade.
That is You
I'm
were a
not
little
kidding.
player.
I'm
That's
not kidding.
crazy.
So many people at the same time. And then eventually they all found out and I was in big trouble.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that
And I
blew up
blamed
so
Kyle. I said,
fast.
Kyle
Kyle
Friedland
told me.
said.
That's so. Oh, you said that you dropped the last name. You did it.
That's fine.
That's too funny.
Lawyer in New York now, I think. He's doing really well for himself, actually.
Go off.
But
Go ahead. Wait, there he is
okay.
with his first stipulation. You know.
I know he's gonna come find me for defamation.
That was his
So
first stipulation. You know, under law, if the parents aren't saying that you're dating, it's fine.
so let's get into some TTRPG talk now.
Yes, let's do it.
First off, I want to know, Alex, is there a TTRPG that you love, that you're into, you've played, and you don't think it's enough love from the masses? A TTRPG that needs more recognition. What is it and why?
Yes, it is Fabula Ultima. It needs
Oh.
so much love. I think, in my personal opinion, that it is kind of the best TTRPG that has been written. I
Strong
know.
words.
I know that's very strong words. But when we look at things like D&D or GURPS or things like that, it's like all just combat rules.
Oh yeah.
There's nothing
Yeah,
in there for like story or RP or any like mechanics to push like emotional tension at all.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. But then when we look at things like Thirsty Sword Lesbians or Kids on Bikes, there's just not enough depth in the mechanics to do things like combat or like tell a more intricate worldly story. So then it just becomes like all RP. So I think Fabula Ultima to me is the perfect balance between the two, where it has a lot of rules on how to do combat and like how to get into conflicts, and they give you really interesting mechanics to use to keep conflicts like very diverse and interesting. And then there's also mechanics that specifically only push RP and are there to drive story. So I love that.
That is amazing. I've played Fabula Ulta. It is considered like a JRPG simulator a little bit, right?
Yeah.
It's supposed to have some reference or like influence from JRPGs, which
Yes,
for
things like
people who
Final
may
Fantasy.
not know is like Japanese RPGs.
Yes.
Like Final Fantasy would be a great example, or
Kingdom
like the Persona
Hearts.
series, I think is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So from a video game standpoint, that's never been my bag.
Fair.
I have never played Final Fantasy a day in my life.
Me
Heard great
either.
things. Some people love it. Some
Same.
people love it. Daniel, the DM I know, is a big fan. Taylor loves JRPGs. I've never played them. I'm also like so picky when it comes to video games. Like weirdly picky. People wouldn't
Yeah.
think so. People will be like, "You haven't played Elden Ring," and I'm like, "I don't want to play Elden Ring. It's
Boom.
not for me. It's so dark, so dreary.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
I'm
Seems fun.
also
I get
picky,
it, but
which is to say I pretty much only play food-related video games.
Cooking Mama,
Cooking Mama, Overcooked, Plate Up,
hell
Nom
yeah,
Nom Galaxy. If it's got
wow,
food in it, I'm probably in.
that is really fun. I play mainly like so dumb, like online shooters and stuff like that because I don't love playing video games for a long period of time. So
Fair.
like when the mood strikes of playing a video game, it'll truly be like, let me hop on, I'll play a round of Fortnite and then I'm done.
Fair enough.
So like
Yeah.
story games don't do it for me because I'm like, I'm not trying to spend 3 hours
Invest all
sitting
this,
on my
yeah.
couch playing this game. I used to be able to, used to be so into it. Banjo-Kazooie was like one of my favorite games of all time. But these days I'm like, sometimes I like playing arcade classics like Dig Dug or like Galaga. Like I have
Wow,
a
like
little Game Boy emulator.
classic. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm doing research for a project. So
Mhm.
that's 80s video game based. And so I was
Great.
like, I'm gonna play them.
Yeah.
But for Fabula Ultima, it is
Mhm.
a pool system, right? It's been a minute since I've played. You build a dice pool as like part of the mechanic, or is that maybe a different game I'm thinking?
Yeah, no. So you have like 4 traits, and you
Mhm.
can assign from like a D6 up to a D10 in your like initial character creation, and you can like plot them out in different ways. You can have them more even, where you just have all 8s across the board, or you have like 2d6, 2d10, or
Okay.
something in between. And it just shows like how dedicated your character is. But
Mhm.
there's only the 4 stats. You have your strength stat, might, you have willpower, insight, which is your like intellectual thing, and then you have dexterity. And every roll that you make is a combination of 2 of those traits.
Okay.
So if you wanted to just pick up like a heavy rock, you would roll 2 might dice. But if you wanted to pick up a rock and throw it, then you're going to roll might and dexterity. So there's always going to be a combination of
I
2
understand.
to every roll. And that system is fine, and you can like min-max into it as much as you want. I am not a mechanics person. So
Mhm.
I've never been one to like lean into min-maxing. I'm more min-max for RP and story. But there are so many moves written into the book where it's like, this is a class that pretty much all of their skills are dedicated to learning and like getting information, digging up lore from the DM and things like that, or like just communication skills. And then you have other
Mhm.
classes where it's like, I'm good at fighting, or I can do ranged things. And you are able to combine at character creation 2 to 3 classes. Like you begin multi-classing. And so you can build such like intricate and diverse characters, and no one character will ever be the same, you know? So I find that
That's fun.
so cool.
Yeah. What kind of settings have you used this system for in the past?
Right now I'm running 2 different ones that take place in a more like medieval type setting, and it's very like gods heavy campaigns. You know,
Mhm.
they're going on their big mythological epics to destroy different things. I've run a couple different one shots as like high fae regency things.
Mm. Hell yeah.
Um, I've got a couple like techno fantasy things planned to go off in the future. It's it's a system that can be used for a lot of different things because like even though it's based off of JRPGs, it's not like specific to one story. Like you can use it for any kind of story, just like D&D, how like it's primarily has this idea of like the Tolkien high fantasy, but you can technically tell any story you want with it.
I love that. Okay, interesting. Do you, because I know that you're often a game master.
Mhm.
So you're also in the same seat that I find myself in often. And that's kind of the basis of this podcast is to get more people into this chair. We want more
Yeah.
people to try running the games because even if you find, this is our belief at least, even if you find that it's just not for you, which is like fair, that you
Mhm.
still take away so much from that, so much transferable experience and skills that you'll enjoy being a player even more and you'll be a better player
Yeah.
because not only does it just give you the empathy like aspect of like you've literally sat in our seat, you know what it takes now to run a session. Not only
Yeah.
is that so important, but I just think that it opens your mind to like what is possible creatively and
Yeah.
storytelling wise. So like when you're from the GM specifically like not just like running the games but like creating these worlds and then running the game through that world, are you more likely to think of the idea first and like the setting, the adventure, and then prescribe a system to it, or reverse, where you think of I want to do a Fabula Ultima game. What kind of setting can I use to fit this setting? Or is it like I have an idea for a Fey realm Regency thing? Oh, Fabula Ultima would be perfect for that. Like, where do you start? And
It's
obviously, there's
usually the
nuance that could
story.
switch, but
Yeah,
story
it's
first.
usually the story. Every once in a while, I am like, okay, I want to practice this new system or try a new
Hmm.
system, so let me build something for this. But usually, it's story first, and then what will I use to like fit? What do I think can push the story I want to tell the best? And one of the best examples I have of that is I have a campaign set up on my Start Playing. Check out my startplaying.games if you would like to play games with me. But I have one that is called Life and Death, where session 0, we play a small game called Epitaph, where we build a person, kind of starting at how they died and working our way just like through their life. It's a great game. Highly recommend if you just
I think
want
I
to do
remember
like
you talking to me
a
about it
2-hour
before.
one shot. Yeah. Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
It's great. And so we do that for our session 0, and we build a hero, we build a person who has left this legacy behind. And then the rest of the campaign is going to take place in the like aftermath of this person. And so like whatever we decide during that session 0 needs to leave me to think, okay, so what system do I think is going to best tell the rest of their story?
Right.
And so that's how I ended up with one of my gods heavy campaigns. We built this incredible orc who was a wizard. She's highly intelligent, and she had to fight a constellation god and use the last of her
Constellation
power.
god.
Yes,
Whoa.
Ophiuchus. Absolutely.
That's sick.
It was so sick. And so she used the last of her power to like imprison him and stop him, and dissipated, and she turned into stardust herself. And then now we're like centuries later, and the prison is now starting to break, and like her star has started falling from the sky and is becoming a comet. And when her comet aligns with the volcano that this god is trapped inside of, he'll get out. So we have a very like Avatar-esque story where there's like this one little orc kid who's got to collect all of the different arcanums from the different gods and like become powerful enough to stop this big evil guy. And so I chose Fabula Ultima for that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That sounds really cool. Okay, so our episode is about character arcs. I'm going to put a note down that maybe we bring you back for an episode on pantheons and god creation and stuff.
Please, I would love to.
We did like a Pantheons 101 episode already, just like the basics of like
incredible.
Like when you're using D&D specifically as the system. I tell world builders, now obviously it depends on the person and their wants for this campaign, right? Because like you could go so in depth with deities and pantheons. You could go into like creationist stories and how everything is created and really go in depth. But for new DMs, for new world builders, I tell people, listen, take the cleric subclasses, all the domains, and just make one god for each domain.
For each, and you're good to go.
Call it a day. And then maybe the warlock patrons also, and then you're done. And then there you go. You have the entire war, light, life, death, like arcane,
you're covered.
Knowledge. You got it. That way, anytime a cleric comes in and says, I want to play this subclass, you're like, I got just the god for you. So easy. But obviously that's like just a band-aid because it can get so much more in depth. But I think that it's a fun way to start thinking about deities differently. Because, you know, like if you're like, okay, nature domain, there's so many like obvious answers of like, oh, maybe it's like a dryad, or maybe it's a tree god like Sylvanas, or it's a little bit more mysterious like the Wild Mother. And like there's so many examples you could draw from. But then like the way my brain works is I'm very like countering. Like I love tropes because I love going against tropes.
Yes, absolutely.
So I love like, okay, most nature deities are X, Y, and Z. What if we have a nature deity who's obsessed with how tricky nature can be in terms of like deceit and camouflage and really specifically like cuckoo birds and brood parasitism, where they're like, I'm gonna lay my egg amongst these other legs, and even though my egg is bigger, the bird doesn't look the same. These dumbasses will raise my kid.
They won't notice. Yep.
To the point where they won't feed their other kids because this one needs more food. And somehow they won't figure it out. They'll kill their other kids to save this one.
Yeah.
And so I invented the Cuckoo Queen, aka I'm a big fan of deities having two names, like a colloquial name, the Wild Mother, and then having like a serious, like an actual name. I love that shit. So I do that with every deity I create. So there's the Cuckoo Queen, aka Kisetsu, which is I use Google Translate for a lot of naming. So it's Japanese for deception or trickery or something like that. And then I just
Mhm.
like phoneticized it.
Yeah.
But I was just like, what a creepy
Very
ass
fun.
nature
Yeah.
deity who's like, I like the tricksters, the pranksters, the coral snake that makes itself look like a poisonous snake, but the colors are just slightly different. Or like the
Yeah.
monarch butterfly is poisonous, and here's another butterfly that looks exactly like a
Exactly the
monarch
same.
butterfly, but it's not poisonous. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that shit. And it's like, what
I
if there was a
have
god who was just obsessed with that?
in the like celestial orc campaign I was just talking about, I did like my own zodiacs. I invented my own like 12 zodiacs or whatever.
Oh, hell yeah.
And one of them is a gorilla, and she's the like goddess of plants and nature and things like that, but also of mischief,
Mm,
and like pranks and things. So she's just this like huge gorilla with the ideology of like a 7-year-old. So like just this
hell yeah.
really big, dangerous creature that does not know how dangerous it is. And it's like, look at this harmless prank. Smash, dead. Like, you know,
That's fun.
wasn't that hilarious? I was like, nope.
That is really fun. I
So
love that. Yeah. We'll have
I
to
would
talk
love
more
to talk
about
about
this. I
pantheons.
know I
I
could just go on
It's
and on. I'm
my
trying to think, I'm thinking
favorite
of so
topic.
many deities I've created, and I'm like,
Yes.
this is not the time. Okay, so getting into firstly, kids on bikes. What
Yes.
before our actual play, what was your
Mhm.
experience with kids on bikes?
I have run a few different ones. I've watched a lot of actual plays with it. I've played in, I think, one or two different campaigns for kids on bikes. I just think it's a really good, diverse system for games that are focused on like story and don't need a lot of combat. I think it's a really good go-to, especially if you're trying to teach people about TTRPGs and they're like very new
Mm,
to it. I think it's such a great system to just be like, this is the small one. It's for the thing you're not good at. This is the big one. It's for the thing you're really good at. And then we'll just play. And it's very like easy to teach.
yeah, it is very easy to teach. I think our one shot, I think, was our my very first time even playing kids on bikes, let alone
Yeah.
running it. And it felt easy. It felt like,
Yeah.
oh, no
Very
problem.
natural.
Some of
Yeah.
the games I'm learning now are like very rules heavy, lots of circumstances where if X is Y and Y is 2, and then 2 equals 5, then Z becomes the quadrant formula.
Oh.
And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? But Kids on
No.
Bikes is so simple,
Yeah.
so easy. There are entire rules, such as the powered character, the NPC that you referenced before of Matilda. I haven't even used that mechanic because most of the time when I'm playing Kids on Bikes, when I choose to use that system, it's because I want the players to just be normal people.
Yeah.
So the players are just normal people who aren't aware that magic or cryptid, maybe they have like an idea or they're the conspiracy theory trope or whatever, but like the idea of the supernatural isn't a big part of the story,
Yeah.
or at least of the players'
Right.
characters. And then like past that, it's because I don't want them to have superpowers or special abilities. I don't want them to be like full on heroes,
Hmm.
but maybe they do win at the end of the day,
Yeah.
which is why like I'm not using like Call of Cthulhu,
Right.
right?
I
Like
think
where
that
they're
is a
also
lot of the
normal people,
joy
but
of kids on bikes is like you are children or like normal people in really intense like scary dangerous scenarios, and you have to just kind of get creative and figure out a way to get out of it and to solve the problem. It's not about
mhm.
like beating up the monster, it's about like figuring out the clever way to solve the puzzle and like get through the issue.
Yeah,
Like the Goonies, those kids aren't here like stabbing these crazy pirates. They're finding ways to like set up
that's a
booby
great
traps and run
example.
away and like sneak through the ship and whatever so they can get to their
Absolutely.
goal.
Absolutely. Or like Mitchell's versus Machines.
Yeah, that would be a great Kids on Bikes campaign.
I fucking love that movie. That movie kicks ass. And
It's so
I
good.
saw it. You talked about seeing Tick Tick Boom 3 times really fast. I watched Mitchell's and Machines for some reason. I'm not even kidding. Watched it by myself, laying on the couch. Cried hard at the end, and then
Yeah.
immediately could not stop talking about it. I still talk about it to this day. That was like 5 years ago. I
I
talk about
just
it
watched
all the
it
time. It's
like
so
last
good.
week or something. I showed it to my
Ugh.
partner. I was like, we gotta watch Mitchell's and the Machines, man.
Mitchell's versus Machines is underrated,
It's
criminally
great.
so. It is
I
so
love the
good.
animation on it.
But I do think that Kids on Bikes is so, it feels from somebody who's like creating the campaigns and the stories that they're going to sit in and stuff.
Mhm.
It feels so free.
Yes.
There's just like not much I have to worry about when it comes to these things. I'm so used to D&D where it's like if I come up with an NPC, I need to think of stats a little bit just in case, or like
Right.
every monster needs a stat block. Every like God forbid I might need a map. I might
Yeah.
need a map and a whole virtual tabletop and
Yeah.
all of this extra stuff and figuring out the rules and this and that. And I need to kind of know what the characters are capable of. Whereas with Kids on Bikes, sometimes, unless it's a new player who like needs the help, sometimes I'm like, I'm not even looking at your guys' character sheet. I don't know what
Yeah.
strengths
Yeah.
this
I
character
believe in you.
has.
You
When
got
I
it.
made the overlays for Kids on Jet Skis, I had to look up what you guys' strengths were because I was like, I forget. I know Wealthy's one of them, but like,
Yep.
what was the other one again? I was like, I'm not even sure, and I had to look it up so I could
I
make
had
it part of the
lucky.
overlay.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was clutch,
Clutch
which
many,
came in
many a
clutch
time.
more than once.
Yep.
So let's get into this idea. So Kids on Bikes uses something called
Mhm.
tropes as opposed to like playbooks or character classes, but it's
Yeah.
even looser than that because you
You
don't
can
even have
make
to
your
use
own.
them and you can make
Yeah.
your own, and they're so basic. They're just a blueprint for possible character tropes that you can fit
Yeah.
into, and they're all very like easily recognizable even with just like 2 words.
Yeah.
I understand.
Mathlete.
So like exactly, it'll say like mathlete or something like that and you're like, okay, I get what they're going for here. Or
Animal lover. Yeah.
mysterious transfer, yeah, like we
Exactly.
get these tropes. Your character in this story, the reason that I wanted to talk about character arcs specifically, and we're going to get into like who your character was and all this and where the inspiration came from and stuff, but Iradessa Bonetti was so fun and incredible to me as the game master because I think it was a testament to you as a player more so than just Iradessa Bonetti, because obviously you created Iradessa. So I think like I don't want to misattribute some things to like a fictional character that
Give it
actually
all
were
to
from
her,
a
you
very
know?
real person. Yeah. But like it was a difficult thing. I think it is a difficult thing to play a high status character that by the end of the arc, we really love. And like
Mhm.
we fuck with this character in a
Yeah.
way that like so often high status characters are just like, especially for someone like me, I'm very like eat the rich, like fuck.
Yes.
I'm just so
Same.
against authority and like the powers that be and all of this stuff. So it's
Yeah.
like as soon as somebody tells me I'm gonna play not only a high status character, but a wealthy one,
Yep.
my guard is up. I'm instantly like, woof. Are we gonna
Oof.
even like this character?
I
And
just
it's
met
one thing,
you. Yeah.
yeah. And it's one thing not to like a character in the beginning, but
Mhm.
it's the arc. And that
Right.
is such the crucial part is this growth or lack of growth or whatever it may be to get them from the beginning to the end to change the minds and hearts of the audience and the fellow characters and everybody involved. Talk to us a little bit about Iradessa Bonetti and where she came from without spoilers. This is going to come
Yes.
out before the show even comes out. So this
Yes.
is all
Yes.
like kind of a sneak peek sort of situation, but
I will attribute a lot of my Iradessa Bonetti inspiration to Sharpay Evans.
and that's
You
High School Musical,
and that's High
right?
School Musical. Yep,
Okay.
and,
Ashley
um
Tisdale's character?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes. And when my first musical that I was in high school was
Mm.
Sharpay. I was Sharpay. And I know. Actually, no, it was my second musical. My first one was You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, and I was Linus. So quite the character shift.
And
um,
Linus is a
he's my
pivotal
autistic
role
little
in
boy. Gotta
most
love
Charlie
him.
Brown things. Yes.
Absolutely. Um, but yeah, so I was Sharpay Evans, and I had so much fun finding the like humanity in her
Mm.
because she is a she's a bitch. Like she's not a good person, but she's also she's just a theater kid. Like she's
Yeah.
a wealthy, privileged theater kid, but like she's dramatic, and then these random kids come in and steal the thing that she's been working on her entire life. I would be upset too.
True. Yeah,
I would be
truly.
so mad. And like in the musical, they gave her a monologue to add some humanity to her that she doesn't have in the movie. Where
Interesting.
she's like, if they come in and they win this, and then they get to be the star, my whole life I've been the star. So I'll just be nothing. What
Man,
is left?
that to me brings up I had just watched this interview between Hank Green and Angela Giartana about the
Yes,
question of talent.
yeah.
It makes me think of this idea of like it truly is, and I've experienced this. So like I'm not the most athletic person, but like I'm decent, right? Like I played
Mhm,
soccer pre-K through all of high school, and then in high school I had to quit soccer because of a knee injury, like the most
mhm.
stereotypical soccer story, right?
Yeah.
A knee injury took me out of soccer and I started playing tennis.
Okay.
Ironically, tennis was better for my knees, which doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that feels backwards a bit.
Yeah, it was less running. I was down for it.
Fair.
And tennis to me was one of these things where I had to work really hard for the technique, but some of the natural athleticism just carried over. And I was very good at tennis in the way that I was a big fish in a small pond. At my high school, I was very good at tennis. So what ends up happening is I get into varsity sophomore year. By junior year, I'm the captain of the tennis team and I'm number one singles. So I'm playing by myself against whoever is the best kid at the other schools. I'm playing against
Yeah.
that person. So I'm constantly getting my ass kicked in tennis. Like I'm playing kids who are like going to countrywide tournaments. They've had tennis coaches. They have multiple rackets. I have two rackets so that if I break one during a game, which I did often, I would have a
Mhm.
backup rack. I was straight up Serena Williams on these courts. I was fucking smashing rackets. I had a huge mental health issue that I didn't know existed. I didn't know depression was a thing at the time. So I'm just
Fair.
like getting mad at the sport of tennis because it's such a mental sport.
Mhm.
All of this is to say, I had a friend who just like for funsies, senior year was like, I'm gonna try tennis. And fucking was so good at it instantly because Nick Panel is just fucking athletic, so he can just
Yeah.
do things. So even though
Yeah.
there's the way he's doing backhands was like disgusting, like just absolute Neanderthal level of backhands in tennis. And I was furious that the fact that he's just fast. So
Yeah.
even though his technique is garbage, I'm hitting beautiful top spin over the
Yeah.
net, and he can just get to the ball because he's fast. And I was like,
Yeah.
fuck this kid. So mad. So all of my huge tennis tangent is to say, I get what Sharpay's saying.
Yeah,
I
I
understand
get
where she's
it.
coming from. It would be furious. Troy Bolton comes in here, fucking look at this
Like, look
bowl
at this
cut
guy. Yeah,
motherfucker.
yeah, yeah.
How dare
And
you?
then, how dare you? And like absolutely. And I have a similar story because I played French horn for like many years, and there was this prodigy in my band that like first of all he knew I hated him, and he like I told him all the time I'm like I do not like you, right? So I was very clear, and he chose our senior year because he was a year younger than me, but he bumped himself up so he would graduate with me. And he was like, for my senior year, I think like just for fun, I'm gonna play French horn.
What a piece of shit.
Like on the side, like just as like a side thing, because I'm like
Yeah,
a trombone
yeah.
prodigy, so I kind of already have that locked down. and I'm also your conductor during marching band. So I think just for fun, I'm just gonna like play French horn.
And he was the drum major?
And he was the drum major. Yeah.
What a piece of shit, this
What a
person.
piece of shit, this
How
guy.
dare they? How dare
So
Name
yeah.
them. Name them here on the podcast.
David Jones. The most basic name, but it's
Hell yeah. Fuck
Well,
that
I
guy.
had a nightmare
I
once, bringing it
can't
back to the
wait.
dreams. I had a nightmare once that I finally made it on Broadway, and he was my he was my conductor. He was my music director. Yep.
That's
It's unfortunate,
incredible.
but he does live rent free in my mind, and it's a pain.
Hey, I get it. I God, I want to talk so much more. We need to start doing
Yes.
marathon podcast episodes so that we can talk more.
Absolutely.
Because I had a bully growing up in high school. No, middle school and high school. Just a terrible bully, an absolute piece of shit.
Mm.
That person,
Mhm.
their mom is dating my dad. And so I see this person, this bully, high school bully. I see them like anytime I go to my dad's house because he's living in the basement.
No.
He used to make fun of me for my weight. Guess who's obese now? Now, again, I'm not body shaming, but when you are a bully making
Yeah,
fun
if
of
you're gonna
my weight
body
my
shame and be a
entire
bully, you have
life,
no
and
excuse.
now
Yeah.
you got gastric bypass lap band surgery and are still obese. Sorry, not sorry.
It's
I'm
tough to be the
reveling.
morally better person.
I'm
Yeah.
reveling
That's
in
hard.
it. I'm petty, okay? Anyway, before I reveal too much about how sometimes I'm a bad person, let's move on. Iradessa Bonetti, what an
Yes.
incredible character. So this was the
You know,
popular
sometimes a
girl
bad
trope.
person. Yes.
So tell me, because I think the character arc that Dessa goes on
Mhm.
is incredible. And I think that it takes real skill to set that up in a way. So I'm curious, number one, what do you consider as like a storyteller yourself? What do you consider a good character arc?
To me, a good character arc is when we can like see natural and progressional change in a person. Like, it's a big pet peeve of mine when like one event happens and suddenly the bad character is all good. Everything's fine now. I'm a good guy. No, you have years of trauma and like
Mhm.
predisposition of like bad thoughts. That does not go away in an instant unless you're acting. And then we can play into
Yeah.
that and find out like that you're actually faking it, and that could be interesting. But there's no way that you've just fully changed. Even with like we were talking about Avatar earlier, Zuko, incredible character arc because we
Oh,
got to
yes.
see the like long journey of seeing him breaking down and taking steps backwards of like I'm trying to become a better person, or like figuring out what being good means to me, and then
Mhm.
like reverting back to his old ways for a while and then figuring out that's not what it is, and then
Right.
having to go onto this new journey but still having moments of like being too angry or too aggressive, and like not everything is all at once. It has to be progressive for it to be satisfying.
Yeah,
Um
100%.
yeah.
Okay, I think that's awesome. I agree. I think that there needs to be change, whether that's in the positive direction or the negative direction, because we can have a
Mhm.
good character in a TTRPG. It's slightly more challenging because it's a group game, and
Yeah.
there are aspects of that, so like maybe
Absolutely.
a little bit more challenging to have like a negative character arc. But I mean, obviously it's possible. We see like the downfall of this character or character turn to the dark side, like that,
Right.
as a just general literary or film term, would
Yeah.
be incredible
Or
for a
DMs use that
TTRPG.
for NPCs, you know?
Yes, absolutely.
Right
And
now I have
so,
a character, an NPC that has been by their side since the very, very beginning.
ooh,
They keep neglecting him and not listening to his
ooh,
advice and disrespecting him,
uh-oh.
and that can go south really fast.
That absolutely can go south. Oh no, that's so interesting. And so how do you think, as a player at a TTRPG game, how do
Mhm.
you think how do you get a good character arc? Like what goes into creating that as a player?
Yeah.
And like a follow-up kind of in the same vein is like how much of that falls on the player and how much of that falls on the GM and stuff like that.
Absolutely. I think it's a dance. You have to be very collaborative with not just the DM, but your other players, because like how your character changes can be greatly affected by the people they're surrounded by.
Mm-hmm.
That's also very important. But I think in general, when you're making a character, it's always more fun to actively give your character flaws because then you have somewhere to go. If you start at
Oh yeah.
100, if you're already Mr. Perfect, the only place for you to go is down, which of course can be an interesting story. But if you're not
No
willing to
doubt.
like go down, then like you have nowhere else to go up. So starting with flaws and like finding ways to go through those flaws and change and fix them, you you as a GM have to acknowledge the character's flaws and like put obstacles and things in place that challenge those things and make them better. Um, but also the like player has to search for those things, seek them out so that they're
Mm-hmm.
able to go up against those challenges and confront them and change over time with them.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wow. I am thinking now of characters that could have started. Yeah, wow. I've always wanted to play a D&D character because like the trope of D&D characters having like super tragic backstories, and it's like that's the
Mhm.
only reason that anyone would accept a job to fight
Right.
dragons and these like insanely dangerous adventuring
Mhm.
parties. And I've always wanted to kind of go against that and be like the character who's just like so happy go lucky and is like, no, 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 I just love this. My parents,
Yeah.
yeah, they're alive. They're still married for 60 years. They love each other. My family's all good. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I chose this. I have
Yeah.
nothing tragic in my life. And then just seeing what that would be like and like trying to have fun with that. Cause I
Yeah.
do think more specifically about Dessa's character arc. You're playing this high status character, wealthy and all this stuff. It could
Mhm.
be so easily to fudge that up along the way and find yourself making a character that is like either unrelatable or just unlikable. Um, and maybe that's my own biasy of like rich people,
Yeah, but
truly.
a lot of people
But
share that sentiment, so it's absolutely
yeah.
true. It's
So how
very
did
valid.
you humanize Dessa? This is hard to talk about because I don't want there to be too many
Yeah,
spoilers. But like,
don't
how do
worry.
you humanize a character like that in a way
Yeah,
that like gives them a place to go to redeem themselves a little bit?
yeah. I think the best way to always humanize a person who is in the position of power is to never let them feel like they are in the position of power,
Mm.
like for other people. So if you have we always talk about in comedy, like the punching up versus punching down,
Oh
right?
yes, yes, yes.
It's funny if the jester makes fun of the king because the king can get everything. It's not funny if the king makes fun of the jester. That's like really mean and messed
Yeah,
up. It
yeah,
wouldn't be
yeah.
something you would laugh at. So you need to make the king the jester. So
Mm,
that's the best way is like if you have a person, Iradessa, for example, she has a lot of money, she has a lot of like social status, but she messes up. She's flawed. She'll trip or she'll do something like goofy or awkward
hmm.
that she
She'll
clearly
fall into a
wasn't
bush.
planning. She'll fall into a bush. Something that she clearly wasn't planning, and you get to see the cracks in, like, her need to look perfect. And then you
Hmm,
can go,
hmm.
"Oh, okay, there's cracks in that mirror there. That's funny." And then you can continue to crack the mirror until it shatters and you see the person behind it. And I think
Yeah.
that's the best way to make sure that a person in such high power can still feel very human, is just continually show their flaws and do it against their will. Like the character doesn't want to
Hmm.
look silly or
Of
stupid or
course.
like they can mess up, but you as the player have to allow those moments to happen for them to be likable.
1,000,000%. Yeah, if they never have a crack in their veneer, then it's like, woof, this person is so unrelatable.
Yes.
Like, did you watch Succession at all?
No, I haven't yet.
Succession has this big time where, I
Mm,
mean, talk about flaws. My goodness, you're just watching these ultra wealthy people and like they're riddled with flaws, and even then some of the character growth is very interesting. 4 seasons, I watched all of it, almost like binging it. And there were parts in the beginning where I was like, man, I kind of like this guy. And then by the end, I'm like, I don't know if I like any of them. I think I hate every single fucking character on this show, kind of. Like,
Yeah.
even the ones in the beginning I thought were endearing or charming. I'm like, I think you're all scum. And
Yeah.
I don't know if that made me like the show more or make like the show less, because I walked away being like, I don't care what happens to these people. I hope they all burn. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's a good thing or a bad thing. But
Right.
moving past that, um,
It's good if that was the like what the directors wanted, but if
a
not, then yeah,
million
we got a
percent.
problem.
It's interesting. Yeah, because there's times where you feel bad for the characters, but I don't know. So
Yeah.
so in
Mhm.
this idea, you have this idea where you're like, okay, I want to play a character that has these flaws and I want them to grow over time. Da da da. Obviously, and I think you would agree, you bring the GM in on this, right? You can't
Yeah,
possibly keep that a secret of like,
of
no one's gonna
course.
know that I'm gonna have this huge character transformation along the adventure. It's like, no, tell the GM so that they can assist, right? Like,
Yes, exactly.
now,
You need
how
a dance
much
partner.
it's for Dessa and maybe for other characters that you've played that have had some kind of transformation arc across the story, how much of
Mhm.
that is pre-planned and how much of that is reactionary based on the adventure, based on the events in the actual game?
Yeah, I really like to stay in the moment and truly improvise a lot of the time. So I try not to pre-plan, but obviously when I'm making a flaw, I have an idea as to how that can be mended or how I can make it better. But I also allow it for like if the other characters are starting to like make the situation worse, right? If all of a sudden instead of being surrounded by people who are poorer than me or are like making me like feel bad for my privilege and
Mm-hmm.
instead I'm surrounded by people who are like sucking up to me or like doing whatever, or maybe they're being too aggressive to the point where like I feel attacked, so why would I want to
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
change? Then then you can play with like getting worse or becoming a worse person, which is
Right.
still a character arc. It doesn't all have to be like just becoming the best version of you. Maybe your character arc is becoming worse or working with the villain. I don't know. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and when you get worse, you can always still find a way to redeem and become better if you're doing a longer
Absolutely.
term campaign. Um, but yeah, I think it's just about having some ideas as to where it could go, but not railroading yourself and forcing that arc. Still be reactionary, but have a couple things planned.
Naturally. Yeah,
Of
yeah.
course.
I like to imagine in my head uh a sandbox that is just narrow and kind of maybe it winds, but it still is like kind of a track. So it's like you're
Yeah.
still getting from A to B, but
Yeah.
how you get there along the
Up
way, the
to
different
you.
twists and turns, totally up to you. I
Yeah.
think, yeah, bringing the GM in is so important.
Mhm.
Maybe even other players for like certain
Yeah.
scenes if you have those prior connections character wise. All of that stuff helps so much, um because like we're not telling the story in a vacuum, we're telling it
Right.
collaboratively together, and
Exactly.
sometimes there are going to be moving parts that may accidentally go against what you're trying to set out. So like
Yeah.
if you tell the GM ahead of time, that's so I as a GM I could say so helpful.
Yes.
When
So
players are
helpful.
like, hey, so I'm gonna start as the lone wolf, but don't
Yeah.
worry, 3 sessions
I have
in,
an
I
idea.
plan on not being a lone wolf,
Yeah.
like just so you know. And I
Yeah.
love that kind of
Absolutely.
stuff.
Like, I
Um,
had a player in one of my games who came in session 0, was like, "Okay, so I see all of the other players," like, he came in later. He's like, "I see that everyone's getting along really well. What if I work for the big bad?"
mhm.
And I was like, "Now that's very interesting, but what's the plan with that?" And he's like, "Well, like, I'm thinking over time as I'm hanging out with the good guys, I learn that there are more bad things to the big bad than I had previously known, and like they show me different things and I can like grow and start going towards their side. But for a while I can be doing some conniving things And like,
Mm,
if I get caught, that could be very dramatic and very fun. So that was a really great example of like coming in session 0 with an idea of a character arc.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the spy kind of turned double
Yeah,
agent in a way. Really,
exactly.
really cool. I love that. Well, as much as I would love Alex to keep talking about millions
Go
of
on
things,
forever.
musicals, and my goodness, I could keep talking. This episode already is probably one of our beefier episodes. I simply must. I just
Thank
got
you.
carried away. And that was me limiting the number of questions. How crazy. I could have
I'm so
had more
proud of you.
questions. It's wild. Okay, but please let us know, Alex, who our sponsor is for this week's episode.
Oh, yes, our beautiful, wonderful sponsor. Our sponsor is Toadstool Teas. A sip will take you for a trip. Uh, they actually just got a bunch of brand new, delightful, delicious flavors,
They did?
such
Oh, good.
as Wisteria and Wishes, Blueberry Breeze, and my personal favorite, definitely not a Fey Trap. Has great hints of like hibiscus and raspberry. Really recommend it.
Hmm.
And in addition to getting a fantastic, delicious box of tea, with every box that you buy, half of the price will be donated to Gilded Goblins, which is a
Oh,
wonderful nonprofit organization that finds housing and work for all of the goblins that your heartless heroes displace after you kill their bosses. So it's a really good organization and great tea.
well, that's
Toadstool tea.
incredible. Toadstool teas. You heard it here, first, folks. And remember that sometimes adventuring it gets dangerously close to imperialism when you start going in there and being like, I'm not from here, but I know what you guys need, and it's
Yeah,
less goblins.
yeah.
Thank you
Then
so
you
much for spreading the awareness of that
gotta spread the
brand.
awareness.
That is real.
Exactly.
These are real sponsors, folks. Don't
Real
even worry about
sponsors,
it.
and if maybe if you're not into drinking tea, then you're more interested in spilling tea, then you can come over to start playing dot games slash GM slash Alex Teatime RPG. And I would love to play some games with
Amazing.
you.
Yes, and people can also find those things, links in the description. That's
Yes.
all we can get into this time, folks. You can find us on TikTok and Instagram and all other places of the internet at So You Want to Be a DM, or you can ask us a question at So You Want to Be a GM. Excuse me, backtrack.
You got it.
I'll keep it in. I'm not gonna edit that. You can ask us a question at So You Want to Be a DM at gmail.com. If you liked the episode, don't forget to give us 5 stars and a review wherever you found us. And check out our Patreon, our Twitch, merch with the links in the description. Join us next time for more Dungeon Master tips and tricks from So You Want to Be a DM. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey gang, it's Justin. I have the honor of giving a shout out to the members of our Patreon gang. Nub Muffins, may Palor's light shine upon you. Marsavies, have you watered your flesh prison lately? Yazvi, the eternal library where color and community await you. Molly Iradessa, who gets yet another level up. And there's Elijah, Tappy, and Linguini. Gang, we appreciate and love you. Tune in next time for more tips and tricks from So You Want to Be a DM.